Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sean and Sax Show. We're back. We're live. We're here. We're trying to get the microphones to work. We have Gunner here. You can't see if you're listening, but Gunner's here, being his needy, normal self.
He loves his dad the very mostest.
Yes, he has anxiety issues that we're working on. We have a trainer, and
we went and saw John Wick last night.
Yeah.
And the dog was just like your dog.
He looked just like Gunner. If you saw John Wick, then you saw Gunner's brother or sister, but that dog killed a bunch of people. Just relax, buddy.
But
and
his
Gunner
parents are actors.
Oh yeah.
So,
maybe it was
mom
or dad.
We'll have to look into that. But.
So guys, welcome to the show. We are in a sort of new space here. Saxony enjoys it. That's great.
I think you're just hard to please. We should run a poll.
I'm really not. We started this show with nothing, right? And we kind of grew it, and then we put other cool stuff in. And the studio that we had before that had all the pictures up and had all the artwork. Are we on?
Is that running? Is that running okay?
Yeah, it's running.
Okay, good.
We had all the artwork and stuff I thought looked rad. At first I wasn't a fan, and then it was super rad, and now we don't have any of that. And so after the show, we'll have a conversation. And maybe
we're doing a cleaner, different vibe, because change is not a horrible thing.
I don't
but
think
we have
it's
new
a
chairs
horrible
that
thing.
are great.
We did get new chairs. We were out one night. We got new chairs. Anyways, the evolution of the podcast, what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, we don't fucking know. We just wing it and do it. And some things I will make sure that I am adamant on and ensuring that we're all on the same page. And then it's kind of like the old picking your battles. Sometimes you're just like, whatever, you know what I mean? But we're getting comfortable here, and we're excited to be.
I'm literally trying to get comfortable. It's a new chair.
We should have done a practice run with this deal or something. Anyways, guys, we have something we want to talk about today, and this could be very interesting. Richie, do you want to grab that door? Is that cool being open? We have something we want to talk about, and this is an interesting conversation. We talk about what's happening in our world, in our life, in our marriage, and this isn't necessarily a relationship show. It's the Sean and Sax Show. I think we talk a lot about relationships because we're in a relationship, and maybe that's the gear that we started, the angle that we started talking about. But we like to talk about lots of different things, but we tend to talk about relationships a lot and have a lot of relationships conversations. I mean, for those of you that don't know, that are just tuning in for the first time, maybe our first episode that we did was literally a week before we got married. So this was like a show that we wanted to put together and do just a podcast because it's vulnerable, it's exposing, it's
connecting,
hard. It's also very connecting when you get to have these conversations. And Sax and I have chosen, not just because of social media, not just because of where we are. We've just chosen to be all in.
Yep.
And I want to preface this because it's a really fascinating experience we have with social media and life, to be able to shine a light and to be who you are and what you are in front of the world.
Yep.
And we've both chosen to be radically open and radically vulnerable, not only in front of the cameras, but behind the cameras, not only when we're on stage, but when we're in the bedroom, not only when we're on date night, but when we're hanging out with friends or whatever. We're all in. I've said that before on the show a lot. I've said it quite a bit actually. And I still find it really interesting how many people struggle with this reality that couples can be not only open and vulnerable, but can truly be in a place where they can experience life to the fullest.
Yeah.
To be able to be, open not only with our emotions and our feelings and our kids and our life, but with our sexuality, with where we are. And it's fascinating to me how few people are able to talk about marriage anymore. How few people are able to talk about connection or able to talk about intimacy. It's kind of this taboo thing where we've gotten into our world and into our space and into our culture where we don't talk about really a whole lot of anything that actually fucking matters. We're really open with how angry we are. Fuck the government, do this, do that. This guy sucks, that guy sucks. But how much time and energy are we really putting into being radically open and vulnerable about our marriages and about our relationships and about the shit that actually matters. Kids are struggling more than ever before. 50% of marriages are ending in divorce. Let's just call it what it really is.
I wonder what the percentage is.
50% of you listening to this right now have either been divorced or will be divorced. This is just the math. These are the statistics. Half of marriages are ending in divorce. Okay? Now, I'm not the smartest man on the planet. I'm a brilliant one. I'm very smart. I'm probably in the top 5, but whatever. That's just the statistics that I came up with. But let me let you in on a little secret. If 50% of marriages are ending in divorce, I would like to say that that's a very, very, very high number. Don't know if it's good or bad or right or wrong or what my benchmark is, but if half of marriages are ending in divorce, I ended up in a divorce, and that's the reason that I talk about the shit that I talk about today.
Yeah.
I ended up in a divorce, which is why Saxy and I have chosen to go all in and talk about what we talk about. And so I want to lay this foundation before we have this conversation, because there are so many fucking grown-ass people who are literally, they turn into bumbling, babbling fucking idiots when you start talking about sex, or it's inappropriate, or it's not Christian, and I'm just talking about sex. I'm not even talking about a myriad of other topics. And it's fascinating to me to know that the number 1 and the number 2 causes of divorce are, do you know what they are, babe? Do you know what number 1 and 2 are?
I would say money and sex. Or lack of sex, or...
Listen, the number 1 and number 2... Again, these are just statistics. This isn't the gospel according to Sean. Google this shit, friends. The number 1 and number 2 cause of divorce is money and sex, or sex and money. Whichever's 1 and 2, I don't know.
What's interesting about that, though, is when you say that, my mind immediately says, so it's really about communication.
Okay.
Because money problem with money
Right.
is probably a communication problem for the most part. And the problem with sex is also a communication problem / vulnerability problem.
Yeah. If you know that your number 1 and number 2 problem in the leading cause of divorce is sex and money, the thing that we don't talk about amongst ourselves in our peer groups and with our friends on social media is money. You can't ask anybody, how much do you make? Where are you at with money? Oh, no, don't ask me that. This is off limits. The off limit topics is money. We don't talk about money.
That's like the old corporate way of like, don't talk about what you make with your coworkers. Don't talk about what you make or whatever. God forbid if they find out you're making more than them.
Exactly, right? Yet here we are, broke as shit as a culture. Here we are, fat as shit as a culture. And here we are with half of the marriages ending in divorce, yet we don't want to talk about marriage. We don't want to talk about intimacy. We don't want to talk about fidelity. We don't want to talk about sex toys. We don't want to talk about lusting. We don't want to talk about any of these fucking things, yet half of the people listening to this show are going to end up divorced or have been divorced.
Yeah.
And I would be willing to bet that anybody who's listening to this who has been divorced would, without question, if we did a poll, you ended up divorced because of a lack of communication around one of 2 topics, sex or money. He cheated, sex. She cheated, sex. He ran up the fucking racket of the money, and when we went bankrupt, money. What do you want to talk about? We just became emotionally disconnected. Communication around sex. He probably wasn't happy. You probably weren't happy. You didn't want to freaking blow him. He didn't want to freaking do you. Let's call it what it really is, man. You know what I'm saying? And I share this simply because I choose to not, I don't want to be another statistic. I don't want our relationship to be another statistic. I want our relationship to work. And so I've chosen, you've chosen, we've chosen to go down the path of having radical vulnerability, radical honesty around who we are, what makes us tick, what we like, what we don't like. Okay?
Well, we have a lot of experience in knowing what we don't want.
Right.
And so that's a great education for going into a marriage later on in life, where it's like, I have experienced a lot of what I don't want. So it's really easy for us to have we have hard-nosed polarity, and we have, sorry, Gunner's just blazing through the set. We have a lot of polarity and a lot of education in the fact that it's okay, we know what it's like to dick around. We know what it's like to be disconnected. We know what it's like to not communicate. We know what it's like to not be all in. So it's really easy. And maybe it's just easy because you and I are both just aligned in that and it makes it easier. But we are intensely dedicated to being all in this marriage because we don't want to, we don't want to fuck around anymore.
Right.
Because once you've lived on the surface of things and operated on a surface level and loved and been in a relationship with on a surface level, and you've tasted what it's like to go even one layer deeper.
Yep.
And there's layers and layers and layers and layers. Like, there's not a chance in hell I want anything to do with that. And I will take all of the uncomfortable. I will take all of the awkwardness of going deeper and shedding layers of having more within the relationship than ever wanting to go back to quote unquote comfortable.
Right.
Or,
but at no point in time was that ever actually comfortable. It never was comfortable. I was never comfortable, and this is what we want to talk about.
Every time I use that word, I'm like, no, I don't mean comfortable.
No,
it's
I know
like
what you're saying.
surface,
No, I get it.
like,
I get it. I understand exactly what you're saying. I think everybody understands. Because the reality is, like, I've never been comfortable in sex. We want to talk about sex today.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about sex.
Everybody's like, okay, here we go, right?
It's another sex show with Sean and
No, we're going to talk about
Sax.
sex all the fucking time because we love sex. And anybody listening to this, unless you're fucking living under a rock, you probably do too. Right?
And that's awesome.
But this all stemmed from our night last night, our date night, and a post that I did earlier today about our
I just barely saw it.
Endeavors of last night. It was very simple, very direct.
Scott Travis informed me of
I didn't see it. Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So I've never actually been, like, when you talk about being comfortable, like I've never actually been comfortable. I've actually been radically uncomfortable. And the reason that I've been radically uncomfortable, and I would be willing to bet that a vast majority of men, the ones that are honest, because the liars are just going to beat their chest. I'm the alpha bro. I got it all figured out. So long as I get my dick off and get her off, we're good to go, right? You actually, like,
they're the best in bed.
You get really
no
fucking serious about this thing. And I've never actually been comfortable because I've never actually been able to communicate. And that's on me. I've never known how. I've never had the partner to. I've never had the knowledge to. I've never had the vulnerability to. I've never evolved as a man to be able to get to a place where I could truly communicate about sex, about what I wanted, to understand my partner, to understand who you are, what you are, your needs, to really even be open and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like for myself, right? And we went out on date night last night. And I had been wanting for weeks to get this present for Saxony.
You're so damn cute about it.
I'd been wanting to get it, and I kept forgetting to get it and whatever. And so finally I was up near the sex store a couple days ago, and I stopped in and I got her one of those little vibrator things that has the remote control, right? She puts it in, I get the remote control, and we have a grand old fucking time, right? And I'd had this idea, and not that you had never seen it before, I had never seen it before, but we just didn't have one. And I'd wanted to get one because I was like, I'm going to surprise my wife with this toy. And it's just going to add another level of fun and excitement to our date night. Yeah. Plain and simple, done and done, right?
Yeah.
And we got it, and it was great, right? And it was a fun experience. And it was cool because, you and I it just opened up even more conversation for us.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm going to share a little bit about it, and you can talk about
go
it.
For it.
We're sitting at the bar last night. We went to this restaurant, and they had some bar seating. And we just walked in and we sat down. Really cool place, and we're having some drinks and eating some appetizer stuff. I've got this remote of this vibrator that's in your freaking vagina, and I'm just having I'm like a little kid, giddy, like
you literally did. Your little eyes lit up, like.
And it was fun because it was like, look,
I love it.
We're grown ass adults. We're very sexually active, and I was just having a grand old time, and I saw you kind of like, oh my God, this is. I'm ordering a drink while there's a freaking, a vibrator in my pussy going off right now. Like, what's going on here, right? But it opened, the conversation that we had was very profound.
Yeah.
Because we were sitting here talking about how cool this was for us. Like, and it opened up to where you and I were talking about our past and things that we were comfortable in and not comfortable in, and things that we had done in the past or not done in the past that we'd never felt open and vulnerable to do, and we had some really good sex the night before, and we were talking about it. And we were talking about our vulnerability, and Sax and I have gotten, and we have no shame in talking about this. Like, we've both grown significantly sexually since we've been together. We've both let down our guards and opened ourselves up to not just like being some wild, crazy freaks who have like bedroom swing sets and shit, which we don't, but we did talk about that, and we are going to get a swing.
We figured out where we will
I
mount
saw
it.
the swing thing the other day. I'm like, yeah, we need one of those. Anyways, like, but the truth of the matter is, like, for us, we're opening up. I'm 44 years old. She's 39 years old. we're exploring and opening levels up of our own sexuality. That's really fucking profound. I've never experienced it before.
And also, like, it doesn't have to be so profound. Like, it has to be this big thing. Like, little things are big things. Like, buying a new sex toy can be a big thing.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be like all of a sudden you're like, it has to be.
You're going from missionary position to like, you know.
S&M or something. Like, it's fine. Like, little things matter. Like, they all matter. And when, you know, don't take for granted the small little steps and the fun little baby, little tiny flirty things. Like, you do enough of those and you have a flourishing sex life.
Totally.
And, yeah.
But and it was cool for me sitting at the restaurant because we were having this conversation. We were also having this really fun experience with this vibrator and the toy and the remote. And halfway through dinner, it like quit working. I'm like, what the fuck is like? And I'm looking at you. I'm pushing the button.
Supposed to work 40
and I'm like, is it on? And I'm like, you would think. And so then, you know what I mean? You're like, I think it turned off. So you went to the bathroom to turn it back on and whatever. And it was just
must have a sleep mode.
Yeah, it's got to
use it after 5 minutes.
Yeah, after 5 minutes it goes to sleep.
I really think it does.
But we were really open and raw and vulnerable. And like, this is the point. One of the points that I want to make is like, we collectively are growing in such a way that neither of us has experienced this before, right? The level of sensuality, the level of connection, the level of compassion, the level of passion. You know, we're both doing things sexually that we'd never really done before. We're exploring more, we're open more, and a lot of that, a majority of that revolves around us being more vulnerable, communicating more, you know, so on and so forth. But we're in our own little bubble. We're kind of doing our own thing. And what I have found in having conversations like this is how foreign a really good, open sexual relationship is. And I'm not talking open like we're fucking swinging and shit like that.
No.
Between the two of us being radically vulnerable, radically honest, radically open. I lived most of my life scared. I was always under this impression that if I talked about my desires or my fantasies or my dreams, that I would just be labeled as some sexual pervert, and I'm like, I'm going to go to hell, and I need to repent for all these deviant things that I'm thinking about or want to do. And I'm finding that that's the exact opposite, because the more I communicate with my wife,
100,
the more open I am with my wife, the more I'm doing the things that I'm thinking, and our sexual experience is growing, right?
Well, and I come from a place where I want to, and I shared this with you last night, and I've shared this before, is I want our marriage to be a safe and open place for you to explore the pleasure of your own sexuality. Because I'm your wife, and I get
ladies,
to
listen
have
up.
I get to have the honor, and not just you specifically, but anybody who's married, your partner, you have the honor of being that. That's what you get to offer to that person that you're doing life with, and take that seriously. Take that to heart. Like, that's a big deal. Is I want you to like, obviously come to me to expand in that area, because to me, I have no shame, or there's no sin to me around sex involving my marriage. Like, none. To me, it's like, that is a fertile ground to make beautiful connection on not only a physical level, but a spiritual level. And I absolutely love the ooey gooey moments of, like, when you're just in it and you are just in love with not just my body, but you're just in love with the experience. And I can feel that. And it's a dance, because I want to give that to you. So me being open is part of the invitation. That's like the feminine's all about receiving, is when I'm open, you have the invitation to, like, be there and be in it. And it might sound silly, but that's
huge.
That's the truth. And women, you have to be very, very aware that, like, if you bring shame, or you bring scarcity, or you bring your own scarcity and shame into the bedroom,
inability to communicate, inability to talk about your own feelings, your own desires, your own thoughts around certain things,
or judging your partner and judging their desires. I mean, obviously there's things that I would say are definitely worth judgment and shame. With,
we're
not talking that, but let's stay with me. You get what I'm saying.
If your mind goes off into stupid ass places, you're not with us. You're not part of this conversation.
Yes. So, but what I'm saying is like, be very open to hear and understand, like, and want to experience what your partner sees as pleasurable. Because to me, like, this is like this, you get it. Like, and I want to give it to you. Like, and I mean that. Like, I absolutely love the openness, and I love that the more and more and more time has gone on, you are so much more like just fully in it, and that makes the sex that I get to enjoy 10,000 times better than it would be if it was more transactional.
Right.
Because we talked about that last night. It's like sex can be very transactional. Like, just you can just orgasm and have that sex, and that's fine. But you want to take it to a deeper level or a next level, like, be willing to just stay in that openness and see what comes in the flow of communication.
What you're talking about, like, everybody should rewind and start over with what Sax was just saying, because what you're talking about is one of the multiple facets of this conversation that I wanted to talk about today, but one that's really, really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And understand something, like when Sax was talking to me last night, we're sitting there and she's like, I'm yours, like you, and she's like, not in a weird way, but you own me, like you can own.
Well, I didn't say you own me, but how did I say it? I was like,
I'm yours. You own this. Like you said something about ownership.
I said, this is your, I have given this to you. It's more what I said. Like, this is my gift of, like, you get to have me forever.
Right. And so many people right now, this is what's really fucking crazy about our culture and our society and the way we've been programmed, is so many people instantly go to some negative connotation, some stupid ass, like barbaric reality around this conversation about my wife saying, look, I'm yours. Like, my body is yours. Like,
and I say that with so much pride, so much self-worth, so much self-love, so much freaking, like, boss bitch attitude.
If
like,
you gotta know my wife, she's a fucking boss. Like, she's not some roll over and lay there like just arm candy. My wife's a fucking savage. So for her to say that to me, like, hearing that, and I love myself so much that I want to give all of myself to my husband because it only benefits me. It only adds to my love and my pleasure and my health and my well-being to give all of me to you, in not a way that's self-sacrificing. It's like, I am a gift to you, and it is all yours. And hearing that as a man, when you're hearing that, my first inclination is doubt, is reservation, because I have my own shit. I've got my own thoughts. Yeah, well, you know, it's not like we're talking about wild, stupid, crazy shit. Like, but me hearing that, it's kind of like, it's such a turn on, and it's an invitation for me to overcome some of my shit. And we've talked about this dance between kind of the animalistic, the raw, and the balance of, like, being primal and being sensual and being sexual, and really not knowing what that looks like, where that fine line, if you will, is, because we're so fucking connected in how we communicate, in what we talk about. But fellas, I want you to understand something, like, and ladies, this is far more important for you to listen to what Sax is saying than what I'm going to say about it. But, like, understanding, like, when you have a sacred union, when you choose a person, that's your person. Like, this is the person you signed up to do life with. This is your spouse. This is your lover. This is your fucking confidant. This is the person.
Absolutely everything.
This is literally the person that you should give everything to and expect everything from. Now, again, when you make it transactional, when you make a relationship a conversation around, the scorekeeping, well, I did this, or you should do this. I did the dishes. You should get naked, yada, yada, yada. You're talking about conditional love. You're talking about a conditional relationship, it's doomed if you act like that,
sure.
right? But when we were sitting there having this conversation, I'm in this space where I've got this remote of this vibrator and this toy and this cool thing, and this is my wife telling me, like you own this experience. Like, I'm yours. Like, what you want to do, how you want to do it, your ideas, like, I'm here. Like, and I've never had that before. I've never heard that before. I've never had that in experience. I've never had that in a relationship. Never had that in conversation, and it's very, very, very liberating, because as a guy, one of the things that we struggle with, and that I'd struggle with, is that notion of, if I share what I want, I'm going to be labeled, I'm going to be judged, and that leads me to then hide.
Yes.
That leads me to then not talk openly. That leads me to, when you're saying, hey, what do you want? And I really want this, but I'm like, I don't want to say that because, I'm just going to say this because it sounds more pleasant to the both of us. You're actually doing yourself and your marriage and your wife a disservice.
Yeah.
You really are. Like, ladies, providing the environment that Saxony's talking about to truly radically allow your man to be fucking wide open, to be honest. You think about like why marriages end and why cheating and stuff happens. I think all the stuff you read it's all emotional first. It's not really the sex, but it's you're not getting something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is I believe that it will come out one way or another, because the desires and what I guess I'm just going to stick with desire. What we desire will come to fruition one way or another. And it could become very destructive if you don't show up in your life. Right. And it's really you. Like, to me, it's like when we first got together, I've been very open sexually with you. Like, but I want to lead in that department, because I felt like that was the department, like, of our marriage, because there's certain areas that I think individuals can lead in. And one of them is, like, I wanted to, from the very beginning, I was like, I want to make sure you always feel like this is a place you can step forward into. You're not going to keep hitting these walls. And as simple as, like, that one toy last night, I could have easily been like, I don't want to do that, or whatever. And it's like, no, you made that happen. You put forth the effort, and it was something that you wanted to experience with me. And I don't care how I felt about it.
You felt pretty fucking
good. But the thing is ladies, like, show up. Yeah. If your guy has been like, hey, I got this, like come on, like, participate with your guy. Like, this is your person. Like, and so it's like, and I love it.
It's hard. It's really, really hard. And I'm call me whatever you want. Label me however you want to label me. The alpha guy, the crazy guy, I don't give a fuck what you label me. The narcissist, call me whatever the hell you want.
Gosh,
but I would consider myself a pretty self-sufficient fucking dude. I love to fight. I'm that stereotypical bearded, tattooed, quote unquote alpha guy. And I say this because I have a really hard time talking about sex. I have a hard time talking about. You can talk
like
about
this, more like
the true sensual connection, love. The sensual vibrancy of connection. Yeah. I've never had that before. Yeah, you can talk about fucking. You can talk about blowjobs. You can joke around with your buddies. You can take that little child, and this is what I want to get. Like, that little boy. It's really easy to just bang your chest and be like, oh, this is what it is, and joke. But to truly be like all in, and to be really fucking connected sexually with your emotions, with your feelings, with your desires, I've never had that before. And I'd never evolved as a man to get there. And I look at dudes, a lot of fucking dudes who are tatted up, badasses, gun-slinging, fucking bigot, truck driving, bad motherfuckers who are literal little children, little babies, little minuscule babies. So unable to voice what they truly want, who they truly are. Because it's not the cool thing to do, because it's going to be weak, it's going to be perceived this, it's going to be perceived that. Now, I don't like blame. I'm not blaming anything on anybody. We can blame culture, society. We can say it's because of podcasts. We can say it's because of Instagram. We can say there's all these half-naked chicks running around, all these half-naked dudes running around. We can blame it on fucking anything. But the truth of the matter is, like, as a man, you own your fucking shit. You own your lot in life. It is your duty, fellas, as you're listening to this, to own your shit, to truly evolve into the greatest version of yourself. Yep. Nobody's going to fucking do it for you. Sax didn't do it for me. Sax opened up the door. Yep. I had to walk through it.
Yep.
I continue to walk through it. I continue to make the choice every day when I want to freaking bail, when I want to run, when I want to this, when I want to that, to open that up. I continue to make that choice with us sexually and saying, hey, I want this, or let's do this, or me just being who I am and getting into a place where I can go where I want to go emotionally, psychologically, and physically. It's so hard. And I want the guys listening to this to know, like, I've struggled with it a majority of my life. I struggled with the conversation around sex. I struggled with the timidness. I know what it's like to act like a little boy, to show up like a little boy, to be scared, but try and bang your freaking chest like you're some macho motherfucker. It's so important for men to understand, like, the key to this for me is not waiting for Saxony to do it. It's me being willing to show up in a way where, like, I did this post on Instagram and I shared this little box that this little vibrator came in, and it's mind-bending how many little boys chuckle at it. Now, these little boys are actually grown-ass men. A lot of them married. All you got to do is click on these motherfuckers' profiles. He's married, and he's like, oh, my God, I can't believe this is the most unchristian thing. How could you do this? Ha, ha, ha. I don't need a vibrator because I have a dick. And I'm like, bro, you're not getting it. Because it's
all about me.
Now again, I empathize. I have such empathy. Because I know exactly
I empathize for their wives.
I know exactly what that shit is like. And this is the invitation. This is the conversation, like, that I really am passionate about right now. And I hats off to you and I for having this conversation, because a lot of people won't and a lot of people don't. Yeah. They just don't. We don't talk about, like, women really opening themselves up and allowing their men, because there's going to be, well, he, or it's conditional, right? And Sax has every reason, from her past, from trauma, from whatever, to not let me in. She has every reason under the sun to be scared. Every reason under the sun to play small, any of these things. I have every reason under the sun to still play like a little boy and to just fuck and to walk away and call it what it is, and to never truly invest in my sensuality, my connection with my wife, my true, like, sexual liberation, if you will, together as a couple.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Christian comment. Is that makes me almost chuckle every time that comes up, because to me, God wants more than anything that the union of marriage, and a sacred union, to be so incredibly enriched with goodness and abundance of all sorts. Now, we are a couple, and there are other couples that talk about sex that are, they get free passes and they go out and bang whoever as long as they don't fall in love, or they get to bang so many people a year. This is a real thing that I've heard of. But, it's like with us, I believe that you should have ecstasy and you should have this deeply sensual, erotic, amazing, connected sex with your partner. I believe that is what God wants in our unions. Like 100%. That, I'm sorry, but a good sex life and all that comes with it only spills over into every other. It makes me a better mom.
Heavenly as you could get.
It makes me as a better business owner. Yep. It makes me a better human being, because I know that I have such an incredibly strong bond with my husband, and we have gone places that only we can go. Like, I have never been able to go to the places of beauty and of passion that I have gone with you in our marriage ever with any other relationship. And why? Because we have a sacred union of marriage that is so enriched with communication, vulnerability, trust, and openness. And I'm sorry, but, like, that is very Christian, because there is nothing seeping out, and there's no back doors, there's no compartmentalizing, all the things that, quote unquote, you can look at as sin. Like, this is absolutely, in my book, what God wants every marriage to be. I'm sorry, period. I don't feel bad about saying that.
For that.
It's
no
sarcastic. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry.
I know. I agree with you. And the Christian conversation, I wanted to talk about that. You know, I think a lot of people, it's very easy. I don't want to say a lot of people. It's very easy to hide behind what you don't know. People fear what they don't know.
Yeah.
Right? We do. Human beings, we fear what we don't know. If you've never had a radically transparent relationship, you don't know that. You've never experienced it. I've never experienced it. You fear it. I feared that. I have feared that.
See, I craved that.
You craved it, but secretly there was this fear, like...
Well, it's like, where will I find that amongst people
I feared,
I can't
will
trust?
I get that? Is it on me? Is it on him? Is it on her? Like, what do we do? How do we do this? But the truth of the matter is, like, if you've never had that, then you fear that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, when I did this post earlier today, it was really fascinating how many Christian comments there were about how I was not Christian because I was talking about this. Of course, I got the objectify. I'm objectifying my wife again, whatever. I get that shit all the time. But what Sax is saying is dead on accurate. Like, God wants us to be all in. God put us here to be all in. God put us on this planet in this time, in this moment, not to play small.
Yeah.
He put us here to be all in, emotionally, psychologically, physically, financially, sexually. The call to us is to go deeper.
Yeah.
The call for couples right now is to stop playing small and to stop giggling and cackling at all the little things that we're uncomfortable with and fucking sit with your lover and look at them and address those things and talk about those things and build a completely new level of connection. As we're sitting at this bar, it's just great that we have this little toy that we're playing around with at the same time. We're going deeper and talking about the things that we enjoy about our sex, the thoughts that we have around our sex life, the desires and the longings that we have to continue to like evolve and grow. I've never had conversation like that before. And it's not because we had a couple of cocktails. It's simply because we've chosen to be in this place. We've chosen to be able to talk about these things. And we do, which makes, you know, the whole, the post is the side note. The post that I put up about this, and if you know what I'm talking about, just go and you'll see me holding the little vibrator and sax, and it's a really funny picture. But this is really like, it's very, very, very exposing to people. And it's exposing to people for so many different reasons. It makes people radically uncomfortable because they don't know how to address it. They don't know how to talk about it. People don't know how you and I, two good-looking people who are parents and whatever, they're not sure how it is that we can have what we have, especially having the history that we have, the past that we have.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It makes me uncomfortable. But the flip side is like the amount of people that tell us publicly what we should and shouldn't do, should and shouldn't say, what's quote unquote acceptable. This is kind of the second part of the conversation that's really fucking important for people to understand is I was not raised in a very open home and communication and talk and sex. Nobody really taught me any of this shit. Nobody taught me how to be vulnerable. Nobody taught me how to bare my soul and to open up and to tell the truth.
Sure.
And so when you find yourself in this place, like what we're talking about becomes radically foreign to a lot of people because number one, they want it, but number two, they're not used to hearing it. People aren't used to hearing grown-ass adults talk about sex toys and talk about openness and talk about these vulnerable things, yet the flip side is most people want it. Yeah. I believe truthfully everybody wants it.
And that's the thing is like if you don't feel comfortable or called to go and post like so openly,
fine, you don't need to.
That's not the point.
Right.
The point is Sean and I, for whatever reason, God's like, hey, you should be a loud voice for a lot of things because we just, and I say that because we've had discussions about this, is he and I are born with, we've just been big mouths. We are very just like, hey, we feel something, we're going to talk about it. And that's why we're aligned. We're built that way. So to us, it's not like, we're not putting it out there saying that you need to be this way. It's just like, hey, we want to share the fact that like, This is who we are. This is making a positive impact on our lives, and we talk about it. That's why we have this show. Like we don't necessarily profit from this show. Like we just do this show because we're called to talk about stuff. And, you know, so it's like I guess it's like leading by example, like, hey, like, we love this. We're going to talk about it.
Right.
And, you know, and it's always the case, like the lighthouse, like a bright light will blind those that are in the dark.
Right.
And if you go around apologizing for your light and however that light is showing up today, sometimes the light is a post about a sex toy.
Sure.
And that's just like, because to me, it's like, I want people to break out of the conditions that are holding them back from living a full life.
Right.
And that boils into sex, as there's so many things we've talked about on this show with that. It's go and like break free of these fake chains that you've put on yourself, or you're allowing to be on yourself at this point in time, as you were raised by putting the chains on. Like, you don't have to live so small.
Right.
You don't have to live without
shame,
without an epic sex life. You don't have to live being terrified of expressing yourself in every single way. Like, be fucking big.
Right.
Be like eat all the yumminess of life.
This is what I wanted to kind of follow with this. This is what I want to share. Most people won't talk about stuff. Most people don't talk about stuff simply based off of the fact that they're going to be judged.
Yeah.
You're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be judged by your family, your friends. If you don't believe me, go look at my post. And I have I have a very small tribe of people, but I have hundreds and sometimes thousands of comments from people that all want to tell me how I should be, what I should say, what it should look like. And just like everything else, guys will go get in amazing shape and be proud as shit of their body, but not post a picture of it because, not that they're not proud, well, I just don't want to have my family say anything or make anybody feel bad or whatever. Imagine for a second a topic as powerful, as poignant, and as important as sex. Imagine not sharing, not talking, but more importantly, being persuaded simply based off of fear.
Yep.
Because of what somebody's going to say. And this is why you and I think are light in a lot of different ways, but obviously hurt a lot of people's eyes. And a lot of people have a lot of pushback on that. I propose, if you're listening to this right now, that you get more involved in conversations with people that are willing to have these kinds of conversations, if that's truly what you want. You want to stay small, just go down to the freaking bar, talk about fucking with all the homies. Ladies, you can just sip your mimosas and talk about your old man and all that other shit. That's totally fine. We don't really give a shit either way. But I propose that if you look through these comments and you look through really what's happening in your circle, who you're around, who's judging you for talking about being open sexually, when we know that it is literally the number one or number two cause of divorce, that it is that important. It's that fucking important to men and women.
Sex is so important.
It's ridiculously important.
So important.
It is literally one of the number one or number two things in divorce, period. So it's kind of like, looking at this, we don't talk about this. We're ashamed to talk about this. We're shamed when we talk about this. And yet it is so vitally important that it's the leading cause, or the second leading cause, of divorce. And I'm saying this simply because if you're not talking about it, how are you learning anything new? If you're not open, I know I'm talking about waving the flag on social media and becoming some social media guru, whatever.
You don't have to.
But if it is so uncomfortable for you to even read stuff or acknowledge stuff, I can only fathom what it's like behind closed doors.
Yeah.
My wanting to share this is to invite people to understand that, like, we talk about things because we're learning. One of the best things you can do is open up communication and conversation and take on different viewpoints and different ideas and listen to what other people are doing and hear what other people are doing. But if we're living in this culture, in this society where everything is shunned, everything is shut down, we don't talk about any of these things, and how the fuck does anybody learn? But more importantly, how do you, listening to this, get out of your cocoon, get out of your bubble if you're not willing to talk about it?
Right.
If you don't talk about it, if you're deathly afraid of being judged by the church or by mom or by dad or this or that or the other, whatever, you're never going to fucking grow. You're never going to go into that place of being uncomfortable, because a lot of the conversations that you and I have that are getting significantly easier started it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. And you guys, like, when you're grown, like, you're making a conscious choice to bring all of that garbage into your bedroom.
Right.
Like, if you're bringing shame and you're bringing judgment into the bedroom, you're choosing that.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to live with fear of all these limiting beliefs. Like, you don't have to. Do you realize that? Like, I think a lot of people don't realize that they hold the keys to their own freedom. Yep. And it's like, oh my gosh, why have I believed this for so long? Right. Is it am I benefiting from this belief? Right. Am I benefiting? Is my life better that I carry around this shame or this fear or this apprehension or that I feel rigid and closed off? Like, is that serving me?
Right.
Start asking yourself that question, because it's like, I can go really raw on this, but like, should I go really raw on this? Okay.
It's up to you, dear.
Like, I've said it before, like, ladies, a lot of women have this, they're very uncomfortable with their anatomy. Like, they are. They haven't seen it very often. They may be uncomfortable with the way it looks. They may be uncomfortable with the way it smells. They may be uncomfortable with, like, not really being very familiar with their own anatomy. This is actually a thing, right? And through the progression of my life, I love my pussy. Like, I love it. I love it so much. I know this sounds ridiculous, but there's this, like, when you shift from being like, ugh, like, really like closed off and really, like, almost shy or embarrassed or timid about it, and you literally just, like, open up and, like, let it. Your pussy is incredibly powerful in so many levels, and when you accept that and you could sit in a space and, like, let it be that, it'll rock your fucking world, and it'll rock your relationships world. Like, you know this. There's it's not. I'm not talking just physically. It's an energy. Yep. It's a way of showing up in your full goddess, your full, just, like, divine everything. And I get excited talking about it because I know how powerful that space is to be, and I just want women to. It's like, just go past that, like, but just go and just embrace it and see what happens. You will blossom into something that you didn't even know you were, because it's alive in every woman. And you bring that energy around your husband, like, you will have incredible connection. You will have trust. You will have love. You will have all of the things that truly you want in your marriage when you can step into just owning how fucking incredible you are, and the radiant energy of your pussy and your being is. It's true, though. It's just, it is what it is.
It's another one of those things where you can talk about it and you laugh and you giggle and whatever, but it's true. You and I talked about this last night. We were talking at dinner about the openness that we both have gotten to with each other physically. You know what I mean? Like, truly, like, loving the other person, the other anatomy, the other body, like, truly loving that. And it's so, and I think a lot of people, maybe I speak for a lot, maybe I don't, but, like, I struggled with that for so much of my life. And maybe it was shame, maybe it was guilt, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. But we just have this carnal, primal fucking thing that's just in, out, be done, go, that's it. Like, the level of sensuality and connection that you and I have, I've never experienced before, okay? And you know, I've been married before, you've been married before, and we both openly talk about this, like, getting really fucking comfortable with who you are, what you are, but really truly trusting the other person and becoming vulnerable enough to where we talk about this all the time, just getting naked. And you can use the analogy of physically just getting, there's nothing to hide there. There's nothing to hide.
And the more you don't hide, like, the more you freaking actually show up in the full everything that you are.
And the more that you do it,
oh my gosh,
the more comfortable you get in it.
Yes.
Like, and just
being, but then you break through comfort and you go to, like, excellence, and then you go to, like,
then it becomes
euphoria.
a game.
It's just like, oh, like how, like the expansion is massive.
And this is what's really fun about our connection, our intimate life, is like we're both in a place where there's nothing that's really off limits in conversation and what we're talking about and what we're thinking, and we don't have fucking perverted minds and whatever else, but like the level of sensuality and connection that we both have, the level of openness and vulnerability we both have is unlike anything I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
And it's taken a shit ton of work for me personally to get to that place where, you know, I'm comfortable with myself. I'm with you, with the whole thing. And I know you're the same way. Like you getting, when Sax talks about just truly being open, like just radically fucking open. I mean, literally just imagine yourself just wide open. Literally. And being good there. And being okay there, and being engaged there.
You just nailed it. I was going to say you can be that, but if you're not engaged there, it's not. It's like you hit that combo, and you're there. Like that's it. You've nailed it.
And when you get to a place like that, and I truly think everybody can do this. I believe everybody can, if you do ridiculously hard work. And if you really get humble enough to like truly want it, I think a lot of people.
It's hard. It's just like
it is hard.
Showing up in the willingness to like, will I really be seen?
Right.
Will I allow myself to be seen?
And I totally understand that there's a lot of people that are absolutely okay just having missionary position sex for the rest of their life.
Keep your shirt on, turn
the lights off, and run in, run out, and done and done. You know, great, cool. That's your rodeo.
Right.
Enjoy the rodeo. You know what I mean? But for us, it's like we want everything. I want to know like the edges of the universe, and I want to go past them. I want to know like the deepest level of sensuality, of sexuality, of emotional connection there is. Like we're both on this journey, and I really truly believe that like deep down most people want that. I really do. And I think what's so powerful about our connection, about these conversations, is we're kind of just showing people like, look, like we want everything. Like we're all about it. And we have a lot of quote unquote limiting beliefs. We have a lot of quote unquote baggage, a lot of quote unquote trauma, a lot of these words and things that you hear rolling around. And we have a lot of excuses to just keep falling back on and to say, well, I've been lied to, I've been cheated on. I'm just going to stay closed. You were always talking about the flower, right? And fellas, like if you want, I mean, hear literally what I'm saying and what my wife is saying. Like if you want the flower to open and to blossom, understand what that is. Like if you want your woman open in front of you, not just emotionally, but physically, and to just be there and to be fully fucking in it and present. Not like, okay, you're on the clock, we gotta hurry, or just go ahead and do your deal and we'll be done. But radically fucking in the space, in the game with you, like connected. It takes a work and it takes a vulnerability from you that I don't know too many men that have gone down that path.
Yeah.
I've not read too many books that have illustrated this to me or shown me this or had this level of conversation before. But what's dope is it's like knowing that that's there, knowing that that's what we're both aspiring to, working towards, continuing to experience every single day. You know, that we were joking last night about like, well, what's the next thing? Like, what's the next level? And then the next level, like what does this look like? You know what I'm saying? And it becomes a game to where how much more open can we be?
Yeah. And there's this, I want to say too, if it makes it more tangible, there are female archetypes in these different, like, because I know some people, it's like, oh, well, I'm a mom, so I shouldn't be this. It's like, or I'm this, so I shouldn't be this. It's like, we are all of the thing. We are all of the female archetypes within one embodiment, right? And so you look at it, it's like, I can't remember who it is. My mind is blinking. It'll come to me in a second. It's basically like, there's the divine mother, and there's the da-da-da-da-da-da, and then there's like the inner slut, basically. I don't know. It's said much prettier, but that's that like that's that lustful, the goddess that's
raw.
Within raw that craves that, and it's in it. There's you. She lives in you. She lives in all of us, and the more you shame it, it's just like, oh, it doesn't serve you, and yeah. But look into like the female archetypes, and you'll kind of see the breakdown of the difference in that.
It's the same thing with men, and I don't know what the men archetypes are. I haven't really studied it, but there's inside of every single man the little boy who just wants mom to help him and nurture him and cuddle him, and then there's the man who just wants to fucking pillage and fight.
And then there's the king,
and
the king wants to lead and is very. There's a good book on this. I can't remember the name of it either because that's my brain right now. But then there's the king that basically just is like, he's a protector and he wants to lead and he wants to, just take care of. Like there's a lot of male archetypes as well that break down this. But it's really understanding that we are complex in a good way, not complex in a difficult way. Complex in like we have so many facets to us, and they all should be embraced, because what happens is you see in so many marriages, it's like, if they're not embraced, then they're compartmentalized, because you cannot kill a part of who you are. You cannot kill your ego as much as you want, because your ego is there to protect you. You cannot kill the inner savage, because that also is just part of like what gives you life force to conquer and to achieve in life. You cannot kill the inner lusting animal, because that is what helps us reproduce and sustain life on this planet. You cannot kill the inner soul that wants to bond and be an experience with another soul on a level that only, in my opinion, two can. And it's like, if that's compartmentalized, you see men going out or women going out over here and trying to find that and satisfy that in an area that's destructive to their lives. And that's why it's like, I would rather talk about it and say, hey, this actually can exist all within the container of a monogamous, God-loving, baby-raising family, like, or marriage. Like, this can exist. It doesn't have to compartmentalize. I'm not going to listen to your shame comments to tell me that that's not Christian, because who are you to tell me that? Like, I will go to the hills and argue with you with that, but I don't have time to argue with you because I don't care. But it's like, if those are the people that I'm afraid that's what leads to divorce, because we are not open to all that is us with the person that we vowed to be all in with. So if you're not doing that, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. Right. And you don't have to go down in this deep, like, you don't have to live as wildly open as I am. Like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I just want to be a cheerleader for more for you. Right. I want to be a cheerleader for like living a more connected, beautiful life. I want to be a cheerleader for saying, hey, like, it's okay to love and honor and love yourself and be everything and give yourself to your husband, like fully give yourself to your husband. Like, there is no, and I get like a lot of our societies, like the feminists, it's like, don't give yourself away. And it's like, I am only giving myself to you only amplifies who I am. There's I'm not taking from an empty cup. Like, it's an expansion move. Right. And the problem is unless you can see it as an expansion move, it is a scarcity move. And there probably is something that you're giving too much of yourself because you haven't actually given yourself to you yet. And like, this is like the going back to the feminine and the masculine. It's like, I have been a very masculine woman most of my life, and I was not flourishing in the way I am now and the choices I have made. And I make very conscious choices to do very feminine things that have only increased my life and all that is in it substantially in a positive way. There is no, like, I lack nothing in giving myself to you and trusting myself to you and letting you like lead and letting you have me. Like, I lack nothing. If my life has grown in so much abundance, and that's all I'm cheering for. It's like, I don't do what you will with it, but I want to give the invitation and the permission that's like, hey, you can have more in life. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
The other side to that coin, from a guy's perspective, is, and as you hear what Saxony's talking about, understanding that, like, you can have an experience, you can have a relationship that's not conditional. You can actually be a man and be who you are and what you feel, and you can actually have a home for that is safe, that is welcoming. I don't even like safe. I like welcoming a lot more.
Yeah, I like welcoming.
I like welcoming a lot more. Like, I'm able to
put the little doormat out.
Yeah, you're welcome here.
Welcome.
Come on. I can be, and hear me, fellas. Like, I am who I am. Like, I tell my wife what I want. I tell my wife where I'm at, emotionally, psychologically. Like, I tell her I'm coming home. This is exactly what's about to fucking go down, and there is no reservation with that. There is no reservation with that. And number one, it's the first time in my life that I've been like that and truly been that open. But number two, have had a home for that, where that's welcomed.
Okay, what is it do you think that I have done that you could give as a token or something to guys out there, women out there? It's like, what have I done that's tangible that they could implement in getting to that level of like
connection,
of openness?
The first thing that comes to my mind is you'd never gamify sex. You never gamify connection. Well, I did this yesterday, or I did this 2 days ago, or you didn't do this, and so I'm not going to do that. We've never had that, ever. And I know that as past relationships, I've had that, where it's a game, it's a score, keeping score. You're only going to get fucked if you do this. I'm only going to suck your dick if you do this. And that's really how sex and intimacy has been for me a lot of my life. Is it's a game. It's a it's a special occasion, so I'm going to do this stuff now, right? When we only do the fun shit on the special occasion versus whenever the hell we want. One of the things that you've done or not done that has allowed me to do that is you've never kept score with sex. And you've never made me feel bad about what I want or how I want it. You know what I mean? Like, there's some days where we want to have sex 3 times a day, and it's never been like, well, Now, I'm not trying to have sex with you and you're sick and you're like throwing up in the toilet.
You're very respectful with all of these things Sean's saying. He's very respectful in them. Right. He's not like,
correct.
Fucking coming home and you better be fucking ready. Like, no,
sometimes I do.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You're
but not in a respectful way, like you said. It's very, very respectful.
This isn't, okay, I want to this popped in my brain. You're a very alpha guy. I hate the word alpha.
Right.
But you're a man's man. But you know how to be direct with what you want, with still honoring me. And you're really good at that. Like, you're not a dick about it. Right. No pun intended. You're really like, hey, like, I'm coming home. This is what I want. But I know that, like, that's because you are lusting for your wife, and you crave connection with your wife. And to me, if I'm like, my husband craves me, my husband lusts for me, game on.
Yes.
How rad is that? Because in this era, especially we're in.
Preach.
I would rather my husband, well, I shouldn't say rather. It's the fact is if I have a
ladies,
husband.
you should want your husband to lust after you.
Because
you should want, you should know that your husband wanting to fuck you, wanting to make love to you,
dope.
Wanting to go down on you is a good fucking thing. That means you have a man who's coming to you with this aspect of life saying, I want this from you.
He's not going to porn. He's not going to OnlyFans.
And I want to give this to you.
He's not going to the neighbor. He's going to his wife. Like, I want my wife.
There is
awesome.
There is nothing, hear me, ladies, there is nothing that you will do that will undermine the trust or the connection, and there is nothing that you will do that will push your man away faster than denying him this, than demonizing this, than making him feel bad for who he is and what he wants. I'm going to repeat that shit. There is nothing that you will do that will push him away harder and faster. That will. You want him to be open. You want truth and radical vulnerability. You want honesty from a man. You want the protection, and you want that man to show the fuck up. There's nothing that you will do that's more toxic, that's more dangerous for you, that will shut him down quicker than to shut him down, than to demonize who he is sexually, than to demonize what he wants and his desires. There is nothing that you will do. And I share this simply because I've had that. I had that experience in life, and there's nothing that closed me off more than being demonized and villainized for who I was and what I wanted. And when I didn't feel safe, when I didn't feel comfortable being there, I didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. You don't want to try and connect. And there will probably be 1,000 psychologists that will try and break this down and dissect this, but that's the same as that little boy, like constantly being told he's not good enough, he's not good enough, he's not good enough, he's not good enough. And every single dude out there, every man out there was at one point in time a little boy. And every single man, newsflash ladies, every single man, I don't give a fuck how alpha you think you are. I don't care how badass your truck is, how big your bank account is, how many veins you got popping out of your freaking arms and your chest. Every man walking the face of this planet has a little boy in him. Mm-hmm. And if you want your man to be open and raw and honest and vulnerable, ladies, you must learn to embrace and love that little boy.
Give yourself
Protect that little boy.
Yeah.
Protect that little boy. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong here, sweetheart.
You're nailing it.
Protect that little boy. Love the shit out of that little boy and show that little boy that he can come to you with anything. Because that's honestly where I am with you is there is no other place that I go with anything.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, the light, the dark, the up, the down. Like, I bring everything to you. You have shown me that I can tell you whatever I want. I can be whoever I want. I can be the raging lunatic 1 minute and the sensitive little boy 1 minute. And there are days where I'm like, I'm very much both. But you have opened up the invitation and the door for me to be that, which is why I am as raw and I am as vulnerable and I am as transparent. And it's not because you caused me to do this.
No.
You held space.
Yep.
And I want people to understand how powerful and I want men to understand that it is possible to have this. And ladies, you need to understand how pivotal your role is in this. If you demonize a man for what he wants sexually, he will not bring it to you anymore. If you shame him, if you guilt him, if you make him feel like shit because he went and got a little vibrator, he went out of his fucking way to do something to try and connect with you. You literally, you take that kid's little toy and you throw it in the trash, he will not bring you anymore.
So true.
He won't bring you anymore. He will shut down. He won't be safe with you. He won't want to come to you. Period. End of story.
Yep. Everybody wants to be wanted. Everybody wants to be loved, and love can look different. Like love sometimes is a physical connection. Love sometimes is like, I just want to be with you.
Right.
I just want to feel you. I just want to be sensual with you. Like that fills my cup. That makes me feel needed and warm and safe and nurtured. It's like whatever that sex is, just it's not just physical. There's all these underlying things that are so important.
When you can make them all of those things, you can allow sex to be either the catalyst for darkness and pain and frustration, or the catalyst for growth. You and I have chosen an all-in lifestyle. We've chosen a radically transparent way of being.
Yeah.
And we've taken on the challenge of the intimacy and the sex conversation to grow.
Yeah.
To be a catalyst for more. I mean, every facet of our life has changed. Every facet of our life is way better. We have our moments. We have our fucking times.
Sure.
You stormed out of the house this morning and said, "Get off my fucking ass," and stormed out of the house. And I was like, "Well, fuck you then, bitch." And I went my way and you went your way. And then it's like, that's what happened this morning. And it's like, okay, cool. 15 minutes later, great. We have our moments.
Yeah.
We're not walking on water. No. You know what I mean? Most of the time. Monday through Friday, I do.
We're not walking on water.
But dude, understand that like we, you, me, Sax, everybody listening to this, you have a finite amount of time. We have a finite amount of time in this life, but more importantly, like, I believe that men and women were put here to try and figure out, how do we like unpack our shit and find another human being that wants to fucking roll with us?
Right.
It's really easy. This was another point we made earlier. It's really simple to just roll along and be superficial. However, I know deep down, those superficial motherfuckers that are just finding a side chick at the bar, and the chicks that are just out getting fucked, and the people that don't want to lay down any roots, that don't want to take any chances, I know deep down they think that that's the easy life, whatever. They got to go to bed with themselves one night and go, man, I wish I had somebody with me.
And also, like, there's marriages that they're open marriages, or that are allowed to cheat on or sleep with other people as long as they don't fall in love, or all these, like, we have these
just weird
trying
shit.
to me, it's like, and this is gospel according to Sax, is that's a way of avoiding going so
100%.
much deeper. And there's only one way, there's only one road, and it's vulnerability.
Right.
It's like, we get to open our marriage. Well, you get to bang 5 chicks, don't fall in love. I get to bang 5 dudes, don't fall in love.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Look,
I'm sorry, but that is like, that's going
do what
the
you want to
opposite. Okay, yeah, that's why I said it's gospel according to Sax.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't vibe with that. It's not part of our rotation,
whatever.
Not part of our deal, not part of our lifestyle, not part of what we, say. And I don't just say that because it sounds really good and whatever. I got a bad bitch with me, man. I got a fucking partner. Like, honestly, like, fellas, like, hear what I'm saying. Like, I had to work my ass off to become the man who has a woman that will do whatever I want to do sexually. Like, you've never said no. We have sex pretty much every day. We have a fucking amazing sex life. Yeah. And I'm not just talking about rolling over, banging you, and I get up and go to work. Like, we have like crazy mind-bending sex all over the fucking house. Wild shit that I've never experienced, and it's great. And I share that openly because there's a lot of dudes who are like, I'm never going to have that. Or that's never, or you have an anomaly, or you're a unicorn or whatever. No.
I'm not.
No, I truly believe that this is a choice, a conscious decision that you and I both made. Like, this is the life that we want. But walking into that room, like, together, opening up those doors, it's again, like that. If you go back just to the visual, I love the crayons and the simple, stick figures of drawings and keeping everything simple. Imagine just your person laying in front of you just wide open. I mean, imagine like your woman laying there wide open, just saying, hey, this is yours. Like, but not in a place where it's like, I'm going to get something out of this, or I need something out of this. And then you being a man who knows that level of vulnerability and can honor the fuck out of that and show her that that's how we roll.
Right.
Like, that's how I want that's how I want it to be. Yeah. So then when the tides are turned and I'm sitting there like wide fucking open, you realizing, this dude, like, he did a lot of fucking work to get here. Yep. I'm going to honor that moment. I am not going to shame him. I am not going to guilt him. For my dude to show up radically vulnerable, literally wide open, this is sacred ground we're talking about. This is next level sacred fucking ground that we are walking on. And when you choose to be a human being that honors that, there is nothing that you can't have. Like,
and the level of respect, like, the word respect popped in my mind. Is like, when I see you fully open and fully embodying and fully enjoying yourself, like really enjoying yourself. Like, you are not holding back. You are loving every minute of what's happening. That to me is like, I know what that takes for a man to get to that point. And it's like, that builds trust in a weird, not weird, but like, it does. It builds trust in a way of like, I know this guy is he's my guy. Like, everything about this is, I'm in. I fucking love you. Like, I love you on all the levels. And it's like that, I don't know where else you find that. Right. I don't know where else you find that. You don't find it in words. You can find it in actions, but not to that depth. Like, that's found in that radical, open, naked, all the types of naked connection. It just is. I'm almost 40 years old. I'm a very open person. I have never, ever, ever found it in any other cave on the planet so far, other than that connection with you in that state of being, period.
So you asked me a question. I'm going to ask you that. I think kind of the same question. I don't remember exactly how you said it. You said, what have you done that helped me become open and vulnerable, right? Yeah. Isn't that kind of what we were saying? So, because I would love for the guys to hear the opposite of that. Like, what have I done that's allowed you, helped you, held space for you to become as open, vulnerable, naked.
Mine's more like
raw.
open here, like for my heart to open, to truly open more everywhere else. It would be that you're consistent with you're consistent with your actions and your words. In the bedroom, in life, like you consistently show up, like you court me, you take me on consistent dates, you consistently prioritize me and my pleasure, and feeding me affirmations. Like you tell me, oh, you're beautiful, you look sexy, like I love your butt, I love your body, like you feed me on a regular basis. And that consistency, it's like it builds this trust of like, I know that I'm on your radar consistently, and I love that. Another thing is that it may sound backwards, but the more you step into it, the more I open, because it's like I held space for it, and now that you're coming in, it's like this, how can I give more? How can I give more? How can I be more open? How can I? And so my expansion is you showing up and like stepping into that space. It's like, damn, like this, he's in this with me. This is awesome. Because that's what I always wanted. Like I always wanted that. Someone to really be ride or die, all in, fully naked with me.
I think there's I know that when I was in a relationship where I didn't have a lot of these things, and it seemed like it was not possible, it was impossible to get what I wanted to get. There's a lot of people out there that have been married for an extended period of time, maybe years, whatever, where you get set in patterns, and you get set in ways of being, you get set in thought process, you get set in rituals, you get set in your lifestyle. Knowing what I know now, being where I am now, I don't do the hindsight's 20. I couldn't go back. Would I do it?
Right.
I wouldn't know what I know now. But knowing what I know now, the thing that I think is going to keep you and I, and I'm not even going to say couples go do this, whatever. I mean, you can do whatever the fuck you want. But like I know what is keeping you and I elevating and growing is this constant investment and this constant desire of change and desire of more. People talk about we've been married for 2 years, a little over 2 years, the honeymoon phase, and it's going to wear off. Like our sex is better today than when we were dating.
Yeah.
Our sex, would you agree? Our sex today is way fucking better.
We've been having sex for 4 years, and like it's every day.
Way better.
Every day it's better.
It's getting better. It's
just what it is.
And so
it's not that it was never great, just somehow it keeps getting better.
It's getting better. It's getting deeper. It's getting more open. It's getting more sensual. It's getting more connected, right? And I want to share that because I know that there's a lot of people that are probably listening to this that are like, well, you don't know my story. I don't know your story. I don't give a shit about your story. I don't need to know your story. It doesn't matter the story, friends. Like it doesn't matter how much pain you've had, how much frustration you had, how many times you've been wronged, how many times you think you've been wronged. None of that matters because we're literally in this singular moment right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that's just a tally list.
I know.
None of that exists
let me
today.
finish what I'm saying. Like, because I get this. I understand. Like, I was in a spot where it was like, it's hopeless. And I didn't have anybody speaking life into me like this. I didn't have examples like this. I didn't have anybody showing me the way and talking about what's possible, right? And this is the reason I love being as vocal as I am. And maybe it comes out one way one day and one way a different day. I don't really know. All I know is like God's putting these freaking words in my...
You're passionate.
I'm just going. I'm in. And some days I'm yelling and some days I'm quiet. And some days I'm an asshole and some days I'm a church mouse. I don't know. I'm just fucking going. I'm not stopping and I'm not slowing down. And it's like I truly believe like this is what God wants us talking about. This is the calling. Like this conversation today is what needed to happen today, right? But to those of you that are listening and back me up on this, talk about this, who feel like you're just in this rut. Somehow you think the grass is greener. Somehow you think I need someone new. I need something new. We're so broken and stuck in our patterns. I truly believe, like as God is my witness, that if you have two willing participants that are both like, yo, I'm not going anywhere, okay? I might not like you right now. I might not be sexually attracted to you right now. I might think you're a total fucking douche. You might be a total bitch. whatever. I truly believe so long as you have two participants that are both willing to go all in, that you can create whatever type of life you want. I truly, truly, truly believe that. I think that if you take all of the shit away, you take all of the scorekeeping, all of the tallies, all of the bullshit, all of the I'm going to hold this ace in the hole for another day, and you just hit a reset button, and you take two willing participants, I don't care if you've been married 5 years, 15, 20 years, doesn't matter, that you can, in an instant, start to write a completely new chapter. And I promise you, like I truly believe this, that you can rewrite an entire reality, like in a moment. You can turn a corner and say, we've been going down this path. Yeah. We're going to fucking pull the e-brake. We're stopping this bitch. No, we're not going to turn the car around. We're getting out of the fucking car. Yeah. We're going to get in a completely new fucking car. And we're going to rewrite a completely new story. I know this is true because I'm doing this with my wife. I know that it's true. I know that this is possible. I know that it's possible. Oh, Sean, what if you'd have gone back? I don't give a fuck about any of that. Yeah. I'm right here now for a reason. I've been taught what I've been taught. I've been led where I've been led
too late
for a reason.
To be better.
But I know damn well that there is, as long as you have the two participants, that's it. If you have one that's half out that doesn't want to do it, it'll never work. Nope. If you have two people that are like, maybe we're just too far gone, I don't want to give it a shot, I don't want to go down that path, then fucking burn down and end it. But if you have two people that are like, you know what, I might not love you right now, I might not be radically passionate, I might not be ready to sit on your face or freaking suck your dick or whatever right now, but I'm in it. And you're truly, truly willing to fucking go into the depths of your soul and your heart and your mind. Like you're truly willing to get on your knees and be like, let's rewrite a new story. I really do believe that there is no one that's too far gone. And so long as you sit and you judge your partner, they're not willing, they're not here, they're not there, you're always going to be at an impasse. Yeah. This takes, and this is what I wanted to kind of finish this up with. I had to make the conscious decision for Sean Whalen, not for Sean and Sax, not for Saxony. I had to make the conscious decision that this was the man that I wanted to become. This was the type of husband I wanted to be. This was the type of patriarch that I wanted to be, the type of leader that I wanted to be, the type of lover that I wanted to be. And this is an ever-going thing, an ever-evolving thing. I'm evolving like you're evolving, whatever. But I made the decision that, like, I'm all in. Like, I'm going to be all in this relationship. I'm going to be all in this marriage. I'm going to be all in here. And I tell you that all the time. I remind you of that. Like, when it pops into my brain, I don't need to. It's not like we've got this wishy-washy shit.
I love that you do.
I just constantly remind you, like, yo, I'm here. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm all in. You know what I mean? And I really do believe that that's one of the things that is missing from so many happy marriages and so many happy couples and so many people right now that are just starving for something more, is it's literally one human being making a personal declaration, like, I am all the fucking with this person. I am all in. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. Fuck tomorrow. But right here, right now, tomorrow. I'm planting my flag and saying, this is the work. This is the person I'm going to roll with. Fuck everybody else. Forget the family, forget the fucking church, forget everything. This is my person, period, end of story. Like, I am all fucking in. And that took me 42 years. It took me 43 years.
Say what you said at our coaching fly-in. You said it was about being on the fence. And
the only person's balls who hurt sitting on the fence is yours.
I love that analogy.
They're like, literally, if you think about sitting on the fence, ladies, if you think about, I'm not sure if this is the man, I'm not sure if he's the guy, I'm not sure if this is what I want, the only person's chachi that's getting hurt is yours.
And I can attest
fellas,
to that.
If you're sitting on the fence saying, I'm not really sure, maybe I want the 20-year-old yoga instructor, maybe I want some hot bitch, like she's too, whatever. So long as you're there, the only person's balls that are getting hurt are yours.
I love that because I've been that.
And I have too.
I so relate to that.
I spent most of my life there.
Yeah.
And I can honestly, truly, humbly say that pretty much every relationship that I've ever had, I've always been on the fence. I've never truly been all in because I've never known how to be all in. I've never known how to look myself in the mirror and be like, yo, dude, you're fully accountable for the whole fucking game. Be all in. This is your person. This is where you are. Every door closes. You open up whatever you want. Like, this is the game. And I think that's so scary for so many people, because they feel like, if I do that and I make that choice, I'm going to get hurt. And I'm here to tell you, you will hurt more not going all in. You will constantly be in a state of wonder, of curiosity, of just lethargic nature, so long as you are not all in. I promise you, you will hurt more being in La La Land. You will hurt more judging your person, criticizing your person, ridiculing your person, than if you just say, that's my motherfucker, I am all in. Let's go. So when he comes to you and he's like, yo, I'm coming home and I need to fuck the shit out of you, and you're not like, wah, man, and you're like, okay, he's coming home and he's coming to me and we're going to do this shit.
And he's my number one.
And when she says, hey, I need you to just come over and rub my feet and to just hold some space for me and let me be me,
tickle my head,
you fucking do it.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it's important for people to know that, man, because we're in a ready eats community, in an environment. Give me the food, give me the thing right here, right now, instant gratification. We're not going to work. It's just quick. There's no depth to conversation anymore. There's no depth to our media anymore. There's no depth to shit. I mean, half the movies that come out are just dog shit. It's just entertainment. Shit blowing up on a screen. There's no good screenplays anymore and people writing stories that bring you in and suck you in. Hip-hop sucks. It's just a bunch of mumbling fucking idiots. Ain't telling stories anymore. And we've lost that connection to depth. We're so superficial.
We did see a good movie recently that did have that.
Which one?
The one that the guy died.
Apparently it wasn't that good.
I can't remember the name of it. It's not. I'll think of it. It was a very artistic movie.
But we the people, you and I listening to this, we've lost the depth. And my challenge.
Instant gratification. It's a very.
You go to porn and that's what it is. That's why it's so easy for so many people, because you just go in, you get your rocks off, and you're done. And it's like
everything's fast food
style.
It's
just fast food, quick, easy. And if you want something big, if you want something really fucking big, it takes deep roots to build something big. You want to build a giant skyscraper, it doesn't happen by building it on sand. You want to build a deeply rooted, connected relationship, it doesn't happen with airy-fairy, wishy-washy shit. But I challenge you guys to truly step back and look and be like, if I'm not all in with this person, the only one that's being hurt is me.
Yeah.
And I challenge you to understand that you're not talking to, but you're listening to two people right now that have all of the excuses known to man.
Yep.
We have all of the reasons to be scared, to play small, to not be all in. We've both been lied to, cheated on, hurt, blah, 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 blah. And we both had to make the conscious decision to be all in for ourselves. And I challenge you guys to look at your person, and if you're not all in and you're not going to be all in, don't fucking play anymore. Just get out. But if you do, if you're like, this is my person, literally become a fucking savage in that connection. There's nothing that's more important than our connection. Nothing. There's no person. There's nothing. That's one of the things that I love about
you used to say that a lot to me, and it took me. I'm just going to be super honest right here. That took me a while for that to click.
What?
Is you would say nothing comes before our marriage. Nothing comes before our union, and it took me a while to really understand what that felt like. Because intellectually I was like, well, yeah, but it took me a while later to be like, oh, you're talking everything, right. My pride, my scarcity, my little whiny bitch inside, my boss bitch that wants to take over and run the world. It's no, nothing comes before our union.
Right.
And once I really, and maybe I'm still learning, maybe there's more to come that I'm going to get slapped in the face, punched in the face with, probably, because I don't take subtle cues well. But it's when I really, really, really embrace that, oh my God, nothing, not the kids, not my bullshit. This is it. This is my ride or die. I really bonded to us, because I sat for a while with my freaking balls on the fence, because I had to unlearn so much of my past in our marriage and in our relationship. And it's like, holy cow. Like now it's like today, for instance, we got in our little tiff this morning, but what I've realized is it's just a fucking tiff. Like, whoa, let it just be what it is. Don't make it a fucking mountain. Don't build it into Everest. Don't build it into, it's like, no, it's tiff. That's what it is. And you know what comes first? Us. So I communicated with you how I felt. I let it go. I did what I said I was going to do. We showed up. We reunited. We fucking got, like, we stay the course now. And it's like, that is the balls off the fence. That's the like shit that like expands us and deepens us. It's like, I don't stay putting anything, not my victim bullshit, not my villainizing, not whatever fucking thing that I want to come up with to quote unquote, keep myself safe, is in the way of us. There's nothing. I don't allow it anymore. I don't allow it anymore. And it has been freeing and given me everything I absolutely wanted in return.
There's a lot of people listening to this that are married that haven't chosen their person.
Oh, sure.
There's a lot of people listening to this right now that are in a marriage that are still sitting on the fence.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about you trying to eyeball the neighbor and whatever else. There's a lot of people listening to this who are not all in. And I share that humbly because I understand exactly what that's like, because I lived most of my life that way. And I'm here to tell you that, like, the person that struggled the most, hurt the most, felt the most alone, felt the most abandoned, was loved the least was me. Period.
Yeah, because
it is so. We are in a day and an age again of this instant gratification, and I promise you, friends, like, I pray that you listen to this podcast with your lover, with your significant other. There is nothing that you could do that will be more powerful, like leaving this conversation, than looking at that person that is your significant other, your lover, your husband, your wife, and choosing that person and going all in. Like going all the fuck in. Put all of the cards on the table. Hide nothing. All of it. All of it. Everything.
Yeah.
All of it. Like, that's what you asked, like, what helped me get here. It's like, I finally have a place where, like, not only did I choose, I'm giving you everything, but you welcomed it.
Yeah.
You're like, yo, if I want this motherfucker to tell me the truth and I want everything from him, then I have to be willing to accept it all.
Yep.
And same with me. I have to be willing to accept your nuttiness, your craziness, your fucking psychotic shit, your irrational shit, as much as I do your love and your compassion and your heartfelt tenderness and all these other things. But I made that choice. Like, I chose that. And it's like understanding that I truly believe that if more people just stepped back for a second and looked at their person and was like, that's my person. I choose you. And you shut everything else off. Everyone else off. Like, that's the next level.
Choosing your person, you're choosing yourself. Because when you don't honor your own choices, you cannot be confident.
Right.
It's like self-betrayal 101. Like, unless you are fully committed and honor your commitments and your choices, and you're proud of them and you stand by them, you're fucked. Because then who are you? What is your word? How do you, because you go to bed at night with yourself. You know your truth. You can never, ever, ever lie to yourself. Right. Even if you lie to yourself, you're not lying to yourself. You know your truth. And so it's like, when you fully choose your person, you're fully honoring your choices. And that is some gangster shit. That's
next level shit.
Yeah,
that's next level human being, like, being a human. The crazy thing is I was never taught this. I've heard it. I've read about it. It's bounced around through my world every now and again. But like, we weren't taught these things. We weren't taught this. And a lot of us, more than being taught, weren't shown this.
Yeah.
I wasn't shown this through my parents and my family. I've never been shown this. Yeah. Like, I had to build this. Like, we built this. You know what I mean? And it took a lot of fucking work and a lot of heartache and a lot of frustration to get to where we are today.
Yeah.
You know, but where we are today is minuscule compared to where we want to be, which makes the game even more fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were literally talking about laying in bed the other night, like where we're going to put the sex swing. Because we're like, well, let's just put an anchor in the ceiling, and then we can like take it down, and then nobody will know that it's here. And like, I never
to match the ceiling, so the
Sax
kids won't notice we have an
shit. I'm
anchor
like,
in the
we're putting
ceiling
a big
of the
fucking
bathroom.
Anchor, screw in the ceiling and clipping the fucking swing to it. Like, I don't care if it matches. Like, it's a giant anchor. But I share that just because like I never imagined that I would be in a place where it was like as connected and open and vulnerable and raw, to where that wasn't this is going to be this weird conversation, but we're actually both united talking about like where we're going to put the sex swing and where we're going to, and it's just like, I can't think of anything more fun than being in a relationship in a situation where I'm all in, you're all in, and like everything's on the table. Everything's game. There are no secrets and things and bad feelings and emotions and whatever else. It's like, all fucking in is the most powerful place to be. It's not the scariest place to be. The scariest place to be is on the fence.
Yep.
The place that will hurt you the most, that will scar you the most, that will keep you limited the most is on the fence. Going all in, that's the liberation. That's the fucking freedom. That's where shit gets really fun.
Oh, indeed.
All right.
Hear, hear.
Did we cover
Good
it all?
job. Probably not, but that's why we have a show. Not an episode. To be continued in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we're going to put some more things in here and
we'll see.
Get the studio.
We'll see. This looks great.
No, it doesn't.
Then
I don't like it.
I think that
you got a lamp behind you and this whole backdrop thing, and it looks like a living room.
I think that you're going to come to accept this one just as you have all of them that you've never ever liked from the get-go. Yeah, and this is one thing I just love about you is
what?
Is you like to give your opinions, and sometimes they're just opinions.
Oh boy.
And they go in and out and bye-bye. Richie just zipped his mouth. That's a smart move. You're an employee.
You're a lucky woman.
I was like, I'm just kidding.
You are a lucky fucking woman.
Damn right I am.
God must
I
love
earned
you.
every ounce of that luck.
He gave you a fucking gem of a man. A goddamn peach of a man. You won the lotto. You know that, right?
I sure did.
You really won the lotto.
I sure did.
You're welcome. All right, guys, we love you. Leave us a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are. And if you feel so inclined and know somebody that needs to hear this, which is pretty much everybody.
Everyone wants to hear about sex.
Go ahead and share this.
All right. You are a very good boy.
See you guys.
Bye.